All right, folks, it's May 22nd, 2025. We have a critical update tonight, really putting this into perspective what's taking place now. This is no longer meme coins now being issued on the XRP ledger. We're talking about institutional issuers arriving to issue real-world assets on the XRP ledger. Brazilian real, obviously we have the new Euro stablecoin, and we have another stablecoin coming from the Brazza bank that issued that Brazilian real stablecoin for Brazil. Now they're issuing a US dollar-backed stablecoin as well, amongst some of the other partners of Ripple that are now moving forward to issue real-world assets on the XRP ledger. We're also going to talk about the developments coming to the XRP ledger as far as additional programmability, so that when these institutions arrive, do they need to worry about the functionality of the XRP ledger? Not at all. We'll have a full suite of capabilities that they'll be able to take advantage of when it comes to utilizing the XRP ledger. Now, just a couple years ago, you couldn't do anything, right? And basically everybody the narrative was XRP's a banker's coin. Some folks saying it was centralized, right? It's a centralized banker's coin, that's it. Now we have NFTs, now we have degens playing around in our AMM, playing around in our meme coins. And I just sit back and I laugh at the fact that we literally have degens launching crap coins on the same ledger that real institutions are showing up and issuing real world assets on. And that convergence of degens and institutions, what do you think it does to XRP's price? Now, do you think that it moves XRP's price today when the announcement is made? No, that's not how this works. But we're talking about, where is XRP going? What is the trajectory of this asset, with Bitcoin basically racing up to a new all-time high? And we're watching Bitcoin move up to $112,000 today. And I am getting ready to short Bitcoin, full disclosure. Full disclosure. And if you can't tell, I'm a little bit antsy. I'm a little bit excited. It's been a while since I've entered a Bitcoin short. Something about it just feels right to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like holding a big bag of XRP. It just feels right. You sleep like a baby at night. And it's the same thing with shorting Bitcoin for me. You know, just something about it just hits the spot. So we're going to get into it with tonight's update, breaking down the current events, financial markets, and how to take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. If you appreciate what we're doing, you know how to support the cause. We tap it, we smack it, we share it out far and wide, and all of our community resources are available at ZachRector.com, okay? Got to get in a word from our sponsor, which is yours truly, okay? Whether you buy our XRP family merch, whether you support us on Patreon, whether you join our Discord family, or many of the other ways that you can share our content out, you know, far and wide, it all supports our cause and moves us forward. We're trying to help as many people as possible take advantage of this opportunity. And boy, I tell you what, am I getting bullish? I mean, I've been bullish, right? But when we look at the fundamental developments taking place now, of course, they should have happened years ago. That's the blessing, is how early we were and how much of these assets we were able to stack. By the way, I just doubled up, nearly tripled up my position on DAG. You've seen Zebek, which I've now nicknamed Zebeki, is on an absolute tear. That ZBCN is the ticker. And so we're not just all in on XRP, we're also live. You know, we're looking at, and I've continued to say, utility based in America is what I will continue to throw funny fiat US dollars at, right? Utility based in America that's going to be in compliance with ISO 222. We don't worry too much about, you know, we do go play around with some of the memes here and there, but mostly stacking conviction plays. We can sit back and watch those appreciate here over the next couple months. It's going to be really incredible to see this bull run. I think it's going to be the one where we leave that era of speculation and we move fully into utility. And I got to speak with the CEO of Teucrium, which is the firm that launched the first XRP ETF back on April 8th. The ticker is XXRP, double XRP. And it's a 2x daily long XRP ETF that they've launched with over 100 million assets under management already. And do you think that Sal told me that they have any interest in meme coins? No. Now, do I have interest in some meme coins? Yes, I like having fun on the XRP ledger. I don't go to the digital casino over on Solana or ETH or any of these other ecosystems like SWI. We'll talk about SWI, some of the issues that they had today. But I only go to the digital casino on the XRP ledger. But when I sat down with Sal as we get ready to prep for XRP Las Vegas next week, which is just 8 days away now, are you guys ready and locked in for that one? He said, we want to be first to market and we're just focused on utility. So with that in mind, we're going to go through today's update and we're going to break down the situation. Getting started here, I want to cover the bonds are blowing up. And this is the real threat to our financial markets right now is President Trump, along with Scott Bessent, have been on a mission to bring down these rates. And despite everything that they've done, we now have a 30-year treasury above 5% again. That 10-year went all the way up, I think, above 4.6% today, over 4.5%. And I got an update on mortgages. The average mortgage rate here in the United States, take a look at this one. 30-year mortgage rates surged to 7.5% amongst the highest levels in the 21st century. I'm curious, I'm going to read the chat real quick. What are you guys seeing in your real estate market right now? Because I know in my market, I am seeing significant price cuts. $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 price cuts, multiple price cuts. Houses sitting on the market for over a year, many of them. And so I've been dialed in watching my market closely. I encourage everybody else to understand the real estate asset class as well as our crypto asset class, because we got to put a roof over our head. At least most of us would prefer to have a roof or shelter over our head of some sort, right? So we want to understand that real estate asset class, but this also relates to that global margin call. Once again, it's not just the real estate debt that has to be refinanced. We're seeing the commercial sector. The largest office building in Portland, I just read an article about it being down 80% from the peak price that I think it sold at. So the last sold price or the highest sold price, it's down 80%. I mean, you think you're getting wrecked on some of your crypto bags. How about being down 80% on a property? Right? That's pretty dramatic. But what the real situation here at hand that's such a problem is these treasury yields have soared to 5.15% this morning. That was the 30-year. We haven't seen it at this level since 2007. We have not been at these levels. When you look at so many of these data points, we haven't been at these levels since the Great Financial Crisis. Now, when you look at Japan, they've never been here. And this is the reverse carry trade out of Japan that is unwinding as we speak. This is the spark that ignites the global margin call. Japan's 40-year bond yield jumps to a new all-time high of 3.6% every single day. I mean, this thing, it's like a meme coin pumping. The 40-year bond in Japan. Every day it's a new all-time high, right? It's like Bitcoin on the run that Bitcoin's going on. Every day we get a new all-time high on the 40-year bond. That yield now up to 3.67%. Now, we bring it back home to the United States. The U.S. banks, yes, they were able to bring down the unrealized losses that they had. At one point, this was up to $700 billion. Nearly $750 billion of unrealized losses. I realize that you guys can't see the chart. There's the chart for you. Down here at $700 billion of unrealized losses. Now, they've been able to improve the situation, but compared to last quarter, their losses actually rose by 33% to $482 billion in unrealized losses. This is on their bonds. This does not include their real estate debt. This does not include the bad business loans that they've given. This does not include the bad credit card debt that they have and all the other derivative exposure as well too. This is just on their bonds. Nearly $500 billion of unrealized losses. And if we think our problems are bad, if we think these banks' problems are bad, it all goes back to our United States government with over $36 trillion in national debt, on top of the over $150 trillion of unfunded liabilities. And yes, that's a overhanging, looming problem. But we have a serious situation with over $6 trillion of short-term debt that Secretary Janet No-Tellin Yellen dumped on us. Basically, she front-ran us with all of these bonds that she sold on short terms. So we have over $6 trillion of debt of bonds that basically have to be rolled over. And the big issue that happened yesterday was there was no buyers at the 20-year Treasury auction. And I've been talking about this. Who wants this crap? Who wants to do a deal with the devil? The United States government. And in this deal, you only are getting 4% when we know the price of inflation, the real cost of inflation is well above that. Now, continuing on here. This is, speaking of these banks and their problems, they're trying to come up with a solution. So we have JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo are exploring to issue a joint crypto stablecoin per the Wall Street Journal. Now, this is what we've talked about in the past when people say, oh, JP Morgan's going to replace XRP with their little ONX coin. Nope, because nobody trusts JP Morgan, right? And nobody trusts Bank of America. Nobody trusts anybody, right? Everybody wants to get away from counterparty risk right now in this environment, or at least you should be, if you know what's good for yourself. Meanwhile, I see a bunch of our community giving XRP away to counterparties, and you don't know how the yield's being generated. And I know you don't know because I've been asking, how is the yield generated? And nobody can tell me. Yet we've given 10, 20 million plus to some of these DeFi, which aren't even DeFi, XRP yield opportunities. Okay? Now, but what we've talked about is how the problem is these walled gardens. Nobody trusts each other. What's the solution? It's a bridge currency, a neutral bridge currency that can tie and bring liquidity between JP Morgan's coin and Bank of America's coin, and Citibank's coin and Wells Fargo coin, right? And so it's going to be very interesting to see. I've said that the only competitor to ROUSD becoming the number one stablecoin in the world, surpassing Circle USDC, surpassing Tether USDT, would be the incumbents, like a group like this coming together and saying, oh, this is the JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citibank, and Wells Fargo coin, right? The big four, the big five banks, you know, a group of them gets together, they create a stable coin. That's the only competition that I really see for ROUSD at this point. And we got more on that coming. Stay tuned. Now, Kraken plans to allow non-US customers to trade Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, and other popular stocks as tokens over a digital ledger per the Wall Street Journal. And this is what Sal Gerberte, the CEO of 2Cream, had told me, is how basically all of the conversations that he's having with the Wall Street boys and girls is how excited they are to roll these systems over to DLT, distributed ledger technology. And now we get the confirmation here that Kraken is now going live with this. Love to see it. Love to see. And there's going to be a lot more of this. Robinhood and others that have started to bring, you know, more access and exposure to the retail traders, 24/7 trading. I mean, I was talking with Sal and I said, you got guys like me that only started investing in crypto, right? Back in 2018 is when I first started making investments outside of my personal business and myself. That's all I had invested in up until 2018. And then I went into crypto. And I said, our perception, our expectations of what investing is supposed to be like have been so distorted, right? We're so used to, if we make 100% on on an investment, we're not even excited. 100%, 200%, 500%. We're not excited because we're watching crypto bro 10x'd it, 50x'd it, 100x'd it. So our 200-300% is not enough. It's not good enough. Our perception of markets being open, only at limited hours, right? I'm used to 24/7 trading. I'm used to leverage, basically as much leverage as you really want to, or need, or shouldn't be using is available, right? And so we're used to all of this in the crypto world. And now the merger is happening. I'm excited to speak with Sal at XRP Las Vegas next week about this more in depth, about how Wall Street and other firms are looking to integrate this technology. It looks like you have the new kids on the block like Kraken coming in, but then you got players like Ripple. And this is one of the takeaways that I had with my conversation with Sal is Ripple is in the lead at holding the hand of the traditional financial players, right? They're in the lead of onboarding TradFi. Now, Zebek did have a nice run today. Absolutely. Now, unfortunately, Sui did not have a good day. And we're going to talk about that next, okay? Now, what happened here with Sui is there was a DEX platform, decentralized exchange platform, basically an app that was built on top of Solana. So is this issue necessarily I keep on saying Solana, SWI. Was this an issue with SWI, or was this just an app that had an exploit? That it is the latter. It is an app that had an exploit. And this is the exact problem, though, with all of these other layer ones or layer twos, is that they don't have native programmability or native smart contracts. Right? These features aren't built into the layer one like they are with the XRP ledger. And so what happens is these smart contracts are put together by third parties. And this is where time after time after time again, all of these exploits and hacks take place, is these separate smart contracts that have been done by other developers. And so as someone who's not active in the SWI ecosystem, I never heard of this platform that got hacked today. I hadn't been paying attention to the SWI ecosystem in depth, other than I'd been hearing in the cryptoverse on CryptoX that it was picking up steam, that it was hot, that there were some hot meme coins. But what took place today is that smart contract for the DEX got exploited, and apparently the people behind this were able to basically just throw in a bunch of fake monopoly token, like just fake tokens, and then they were able to exchange them for Solana and some of these other tokens, and they were able to drain basically every single liquidity pool on I keep on saying Solana, on SWI. They're both centralized VC pump gang projects, right? Solana, SWI. They both go down, they both get hacked, they all have issues, right? And they don't have layer one programmability. That's the problem. And every single one of their liquidity pools got drained. I saw a TikToker that I know who lost over $100,000 in the SWI ecosystem. 100,000. Right? And I'm sure there's a lot more losses. Now, what I found interesting though is looking at these ecosystems, and I wanted to bring this up tonight. We've been hounded in our community, in the XRP community, that we didn't have enough developers, right? Ripple's not doing enough for the developers. Ripple's not giving away enough money. You know, there's no incentive here in the XRP ecosystem. How can we expect any developers to be here? And we need to be more like Solana. We need to be more like SWI. SWI has all these developers. All these developers. Well, did it stop this exploit? Did it stop every single token from having its liquidity drained in this issue? No. So, hey, nothing against developers. I'm just saying. Are we really missing anything over here? And we are. We are missing some features, and they're coming. But they're all coming to the layer one in a completely decentralized way. Not you, a middleman, not you, a smart contract. Not you and a smart contract written by a counterparty that can be hacked. Just you and the XRP ledger. And there's a big difference there. And some of these ecosystems maybe should take some notes. There's a reason why we've been around for 10 years with basically no downtime ever. Very few issues that we've had on the XRP ledger. Now, when they found out what happened, the SWI validators got together, and basically they're not accepting transactions from the address of the hacker. So over $220 million was basically stolen. But I think most of that has been frozen. It's like 160 million of that has been frozen essentially. And they're not going to allow that wallet to make any transactions. Now, I will say that earlier today, I basically put out a tweet and I said, so SWI is centralized. And I put a question mark. And I was kind of just trying to figure out what happened. Right, so you just put out a little engagement there to trigger the SWI guys and gals, and we did. And the issue is it's not centralized, as the validators came together to form a consensus, right? But and the same thing could happen on the XRP ledger. But it just goes to show, the difference between having everything written in separate smart contracts on layer twos that are written by counterparties, written by people that you don't know, versus code that's on the layer one, decentralized exchange on the XRP ledger. There's a big difference there. Now, the thing is, we've been getting shilled all of these coins one after another, right? It's why I keep on misspeaking and saying Solana when I meant to say SWI, is because it's the same VC pump gang. And now this is Raoul Pal saying that he's massively overweight SWI. He discloses that he's over 70% of his portfolio is in SWI. Check this out.
I'm massively overweight SWI.
Oversold.
Massively.
Can I ask you, percentages wise, more or less?
I'm definitely over 70% SWI. And that's not anything to do with the foundation that I'm on. That's my just capital allocation of my savings. And simple. It's not because I'm on the foundation and people are like, hey, he's just shilling his coin. It's because the fucking chart of Solana, SWI versus Solana broke out. And Solana was the strongest horse in the race. Christian, who's the head of the foundation, his opening question now to projects that want to work with SWI is like, well, show me the path to 1 billion users. Right? Because it's built for that scale. And if you're leading with questions like that, is like, yeah, okay, it's interesting you building this, whatever, but is this going to bring me 1 billion users? If it's not of high priority. And so their mindset is really big. And they back it up by, you know, all of the projects that they've been launching. So, you know, I've been privileged to be on the foundation to see the inner workings of an amazing group of people and see how they all come together. They're basically all ex-Facebook and Google. And they're very smart. They understand scale. They understand how to solve really difficult things, you know, Walrus, stuff like that. It's super interesting. It's got all of the hallmarks of a massively growing ecosystem, massive growing number of users, massive growing number of applications. Have they had the big breakout application yet? No. But there will be one this cycle, and that'll be the first start of the bigger narrative.
Well, that's the thing about investing here is we all pick a horse in this race, right? And some people pick Solana, some people pick SWI, some people pick meme coins. All I know is that XRP is outperforming nearly all of these coins right now. Right? I mean, besides the select few meme coins that have gone on a tear, and that's a completely different game than finding real utility. And, you know, when I look at some of these ecosystems, I just think, man, they still have a long ways to go before they can catch up. And people get distorted because they see the price of SWI at $3-4. And so they think, oh, wow, it's more valuable than XRP, which is trading at $2. But they don't. And this is when you actually should be looking at market cap, because the market cap of XRP is substantially more than both, right? Solana and SWI. That's why XRP, I mean, I don't know if it's in the number 3 spot right now or if Tether has passed it up, but basically it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, is because our ecosystem is more valuable. It is more reliable. It has been up for longer. And I think that these ecosystems are showing time after time again that they have a long ways to catch up. Do they have a narrative that they can sell by Raoul Pal and others? Sure. And, you know, for the average person, is investing in these ecosystems now the move? I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but for me, it's not. It's just not. I'm not going to be exit liquidity for guys like Raoul Pal that are overweight 70% into SWI. Now me, am I over 70% in XRP? 100%. 100%. But like I said, we each pick our horse in this race. And our horse is destroying nearly all of these other coins. From a price standpoint, since the election, since the new reality. If you can't see my shirt, let me show you real quick. This right here is the current environment. Whether you like the big bad orange man or not, whether you like Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse or not, this is the current environment, okay? And we're destroying some of these other coins. But hey, I hate to see people lose money, and I hope that they figure out their issues. It's always a bad look for the space when we have these types of hacks, so we'll see what happens. But Neats Bucks, shares right here. People try to FUD XRP because Ripple does the heavy lifting for its adoption. Sure, but can hundreds of on-chain apps compete with Ripple buying Hidden Road and joining the DTCC to help move trillions of dollars on-chain? The prize is massive, and what winning looks like we haven't even seen yet. It's quality over quantity. Like I said, SWI has all these developers. Cardano has all these developers. Oh, look at all the. Who's using the coin that matters? Who's using the coin that moves trillions of dollars? Nobody. When you answer that question, you get a little bit better perspective, right? On who's actually getting some liquidity settled up here, right? All these other ecosystems, oh, they have developers, they have dApps, they're doing this, they're doing that. And we weren't first to NFTs. We weren't first with an AMM. Funny enough, though, we were first with a DEX, the exact thing that got hacked on SWE today. We've had a DEX since 2012 when our ledger first started. Never had any issues with it really either. Yet, some of these folks said, hey, get rid of your XRP. Come on to the hot project here. We got some Solana for you. Oh, rinse and repeat. Let's move them on over to SWE. What's going to be the next one, right? And so what I try to do in this space is I try to see where's the rubber meeting the road, right? Pun intended with hidden road. Where's the rubber actually meeting the road? Where's actual adoption taking place? Is anybody actually moving, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars, quadrillions of dollars? Can your company even get in the room with some of these institutions? These are the questions that I've been asking, and it's very clear where the rubber's meeting the road and where it's not. Where it's not. The tires are spinning, but the car ain't moving. But speaking of the car ain't moving, the SEC delays the decision on the Bitwise CoinShare and Canary XRP ETFs, along with the Litecoin ETF, and they also delayed a Fidelity Bitcoin in kind ETF. I don't know if that was an amendment to one that they already had. I know that they also delayed the Ether staking ETF change that I think Bitwise wanted to make. So they've kind of been in a phase of just delaying ETFs right now. Like I said in my update earlier this week, I think that they're going to go live. One more effort to suppress XRP, and they're going to go live with the XRP ETF, the spot ETFs that is, on the same day that they do Solana, Litecoin, Doge, and maybe they'll let some other crap coins get in there. I don't. Isn't somebody filed for a Melania coin? This is how big of a joke this is. Is the XRP spot ETFs are literally going to go live on the same day that the Melania spot ETF goes live. That's how much they're going to try to distract us from XRP. Maybe I got my tinfoil hat on, but it feels like we're under attack no matter what we do here with XRP, doesn't it? But I reiterate that they're delaying other ETFs as well, too. So the Solana CME futures were live back in March. They're still delaying the Solana ETFs. The XRP CME futures went live on Monday. So we basically are good to go. We have plenty of liquidity. And we just got basically another XRP futures ETF launched on NASDAQ today. That would be Volatility Shares XRP ETF is now live. The first US-based XRP futures ETF trading 1-to-1 on NASDAQ. Now this one invests 80% in XRP futures and XRP linked products. The gross expense ratio is 1.15%. The net after fee waivers is 0.94%. And it is they do have a 2x leverage version on the way. Now, Teucrium, by the way, if you've been wondering how to pronounce this firm, it's basically a silent E. So I just think of the number 2, Teucrium, that's how it's pronounced. And basically Sal told me that it comes from some herb that his father grew. I think that they had a farm or something. And he was telling me about how when he got started, he basically helped create the ethanol swap market. I really enjoyed our conversation. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge. But Teucrium is the firm's name, Teucrium. And they are the first XRP ETF, futures ETF that went live. That was last month. And that's the XXRP ticker. Already hit 121 million assets under management, a strong signal of demand. The door to institutional XRP exposure just opened wider. And another one of the key takeaways from talking with Sal was he said that this product, although it's a futures-based product that's not backed by physical XRP, it increases demand for XRP because it increases people that want exposure to XRP. He basically said everybody, essentially generalizing, everybody that buys that double XRP product that he has, that 2x long, he said that they're using it as a hedge and they own spot XRP somewhere else in their portfolio, right? This is how sophisticated traders and institutions move, right? Just like I'm about to place a Bitcoin short. I'm not too sophisticated with my stuff, but that's the proper way to do it, right? I'm ridiculously long XRP and all of my other utility cryptocurrencies, but I'm willing to short Bitcoin. I like shorting Bitcoin, full disclosure, and it's kind of a fun deal. But that's why we hedge. That's a hedge. And Sal was saying that this product increases demand for spot XRP, which I didn't even really think of, right? Because I'm assuming, okay, this is another product that's not backed by physical XRP. It's increasing exposure to XRP, but I was trying to, really confirm that. And Sal was able to confirm that when I talked to him a couple of days ago. But Volatility Shares is bringing the first XRP futures ETF that's a 1x long. 1x long. And I was joking with Sal. I said, Sal, don't tell me that you're going to launch a short XRP ETF. And we're going to talk about that at XRP Las Vegas. I guess that they were supposed to, but some things happened and they weren't able to get it filed. But they wanted to do a 2x long, a 1x long, and a 1x short. But they had an issue and it didn't get done. But 121 million assets under management already for Tucrium's XXRP. Strong demand. And now we have this one going live on the NASDAQ. Volatility Shares, which is just a 1x long. But I wanted to share this with you guys because this is another prime example. I've been finding in my research multiple examples where Grok just doesn't have the answer, right? So I went to Grok today and I typed this in before I started up the show. Check this out. I know that's kind of small. Let me see if I can adjust this for you guys right there. I asked Grok, who launched the first XRP futures ETF in the US? And they say Volatility Shares launched the first XRP futures ETF today, May 22nd. And I responded to Grok and I said, why are you ignoring the ETF from Tucrium? And Grok says, I apologize for the oversight. Tucrium, and they go on to clarify that on April 8th, that the first XRP ETF went live, and that was Tucrium's 2x long daily. And so I just wanted to show that to everybody to remind you, garbage in, garbage out. And even if you just ask a straight up question, I mean, even if you're not putting some BS into the prompt, right? If you put some crap into the prompt, you're going to get some crapped out. But even if you just ask a straight up question like this, you still might get a wrong answer. I mean, Grok literally just gave me the wrong answer. So don't believe everything that you see on the internet, and don't believe everything that spits out. Don't believe every AI answer that gets spit back out at you. That's the point there that I want to remind everybody. Yeah. I did see that Bearable Bull did a face reveal today. Absolutely. Absolutely. I did see that. Yeah. Bahamid Bar more. I thank you. I appreciate that. I don't think that you need to keep spamming the chat with everyone should tell their friends and families to buy as much XRP as they can afford. XRP is financial freedom. Literally buy now or cry forever. We saw it the first time. I think we got the message. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Now, this is the title of tonight's episode. XRP institutional issuers arrive. Before we talk about the new assets that have been issued on the XRP ledger, I want to talk about what Hidden Road was able to just do, and this is kind of low key. Huge shout out to Matthew Liny for finding this one. The big news is that Hidden Road received a membership status to clear US treasuries. This is Hidden Road, the prime brokerage firm that Ripple just acquired. Hidden Road has now acquired membership status of the DTCC FICC Government Securities Division. This is the largest sector of the government's fixed income market, which moves upwards of 7 trillion daily volume. In fact, if you look at this clip right here from Angelica Saldana, she just discovered that on April 9th, the DTCC had a record day, settling 11 trillion in cleared U.S. Treasury transactions. And so this is a hidden road firm that already was settling up 3 trillion. They just went ahead and got tapped in with the DTCC that needs help settling 7 to 11 trillion on a daily basis of treasuries. And I said in my update earlier today, at a certain point, Ripple has dipped a toe into enough markets that are addressing trillions of dollars on a daily basis that even if we just capture a small sliver of the action, we're talking about significant price appreciation for XRP and growth for our ecosystem. That's what's happening right now. As I titled this episode here tonight, XRP institutional issuers arrive. I've been saying this for a while, that yes, we want to see tokenized gold. We want to see tokenized silver. By the way, we got links on down below and at the website if you're looking for precious metals. Gold and silver delivered directly to your door from our good friend Andy Sheckman, Miles Franklin, one of the best in the business. Had to plug it real quick just to let you know. And I've been talking with Andy too about bringing some tokenized metals to the ledger as well too. Up in Vancouver earlier this year, we were having a nice little chat about that. And he's dead serious about it right now. We want to see gold, silver, and others tokenized on the XRP ledger. But as I was telling Andy, and as I was telling Lynette Zhang, we need legitimate issuers. We need people that we can trust. We trust Andy. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to precious metals. We trust Lynette Zhang. Can you imagine if one of them brought tokenized gold or silver to the XRP ledger? We need legitimate issuers to bring RWAs to the XRP ledger. If Joe Blow, like myself, brings tokenized silver or gold to the XRP ledger, you know, I have built up a lot of trust within our community, right? But I would need some help from, you know, somebody like Andy or Lynette or somebody in the business here to really get a deal like that done. We need legitimate issuers, and they're here. This is no longer, we need this, you know, in the future, we need this. When is it coming? It's here right now. And I sure hope you guys are locked in. I sure hope you guys aren't distracted by today's price action. I sure hope you're not getting impatient with your little XRP investment. Because this thing's going a lot higher. Today, it is announced that Schumann Financial is going to bring the first MiCA-compliant Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Is Tether coming into compliance with the MiCA rules? No. Is Tether coming into compliance with the United States regulations? That's a trick question, because if you actually look, it looks like there might even be a loophole for Tether in the new legislation. That's right. We got our red folder. We talk about ETHgate. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the free pass that Tether gets in this stablecoin legislation if some of these crooked politicians have their way. But Tether's not coming into compliance in the Eurozone. They're not coming into compliance with MiCA. But this is Schumann Financial launching the first MiCA-compliant Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Not on a private ledger, not on a sidechain, not behind a walled garden. Public XRP ledger. The same ledger that you degens are trading kitty coins on. Me too. I'm guilty of that too. I don't think I have any kitty coins on the XRP ledger, but I got some crap. I got a big bag of crap. I tell you what. The same crap that you guys are putting on our ledger, we're finally getting some institutional issuers. Institutional issuers on the XRP ledger. And I want to ask the chat this question real quick. Chat, are you with me? Do you for 1 second think that these issuers of RWAs on the XRP ledger, do you really think that they didn't take the time to acquire any XRP before doing this? Would you bet, do they own XRP? These issuers that are showing up on the XRP ledger, do you think that they have a bag of XRP? Or do you think that they're just sitting idly by watching this thing happen? We'll issue an asset on the ledger, but we don't need the reserve currency of the ledger. They absolutely are. And it's to the tunes of billions of acquisitions that have been made here. They've been accumulating billions over the counter, dark pools, whatever you want to call it. It's nothing new under the sun. The only thing that isn't under the sun yet, that hasn't been brought into the light yet, is how many NDAs, how many deals, how much accumulation really took place. We know it's there. We know it's happening. It's just a factor of figuring out how much did they accumulate. Now, this is Cassie Croddick. The launch of EUROP on the XRP ledger demonstrates how stablecoins can meet the high standards set by MiCA while unlocking new possibilities for on-chain use cases such as payments and real-world asset tokenization. With Europe putting in place clear, supportive regulation and institutional adoption accelerating, the region is emerging as a key market for stablecoin innovation. We're proud to work with companies like Schumann Financial to lay the foundation for enterprise-grade infrastructure that supports Europe's blockchain economy. This is not Joe Blow issuing a meme coin on the ledger. That's happening. But this is legitimate institutions issuing RWAs on the XRP ledger. And it's not just one, it's not just two, it's many. Braza Group brings a new US dollar-backed stablecoin USDB to the XRP ledger. Now, we already have RLUSD, but we need a little bridge. We need a little access there in Brazil. And so that's why Braza Bank steps up here and they launch a US dollar-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger, following up on their move to tokenize the Brazilian real on the XRP ledger. Braza Group announces launch of BBRL stablecoin on the XRP ledger to strengthen the Brazilian and South American digital economies from February 19, 2025. Now, the problem is that people expect a pump off of every little piece of news like this. It's almost a problem. We have so much adoption, traction, and big announcements in the XRP ecosystem that I think our community's numb to all these announcements, and that's why price doesn't move. Right? We're so used to every single day, every single week. We've been covering XRP for years, and we've always had something to talk about, haven't we? Right? There's always been new partnerships, new adoption. It's almost to the point where you become numb as an XRP community member. And we're going to talk about price action here at the end of this episode. But it distracts folks from understanding what just took place before us. You have banks showing up on the XRP ledger. You have institutions showing up on the XRP ledger. What did we talk about earlier in the episode? JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo need to team up, hold hands, sing Kumbaya so that they can come up with their stablecoin? How about you just get in line and take the blueprint from Ripple and stop playing around? Let's get serious here. No, nobody wants JPM coin. No, nobody trusts you. That's why you issue on the XRP ledger. So you have a trustless neutral bridge currency, XRP, to settle between the both of you guys that don't trust each other. And I'm speaking from the perspective of Ripple, looking at JP Morgan on one side of the table, Bank of America on the other side of the table. We know you guys don't trust each other. Okay? So both of you guys just show up here on the XRP ledger and we'll build out liquidity between the two. Let's stop playing around. But guys, I really want to bring this one home. How important this is. Now, there had been a lot of speculation on whether or not Ripple was just going to go ahead and issue all of these stablecoins: Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, Russian, Russian ruble, right? Which there's no way Ripple's going to issue the Russian ruble, right? They don't even work with institutions out of Russia right now. Any sanctioned entities Ripple doesn't work with. But funny enough, that wouldn't stop somebody from issuing a Russian ruble on the XRP ledger because the XRP ledger is completely decentralized. And the Russian central bank, or actually the oldest bank in Russia, already has utilized the XRP ledger and talked about how it was going to be the basis for a new financial system. So they know. But we speculated on whether or not it was going to be Ripple that issued all these stablecoins or if they were going to use their partners. And I always leaned on the side of them using their partners to issue these stablecoins. And that seems to be the case, right? They found somebody to issue a Euro stablecoin. They found somebody to issue a Brazilian real stablecoin. That same group out of Brazil is now issuing a US dollar-backed stablecoin, right? And this is all on-ramping liquidity to the XRP ledger. This is not on-ramping some liquidity to do a pump and dump on a meme coin. This is to strengthen the Brazilian and South American digital economies. Who here has been in the XRP community long enough to remember when there was emergency meetings taking place between the Central Bank of Brazil and Ripple back in 2020? Raise your hand in the chat if you have been here since then. Since 2020, when emergency meetings were taking place with the Central Bank of Ripple, Central Bank of Brazil and Ripple. Who here remembers that one? And now, fast forward, not only has Ripple been partnered up with some other ODL partners in Brazil, the largest exchanges in Latin America, incredible exposure down there in Latin America, but now we're seeing them show their partners. And I talked about how Ripple laid the blueprint. Ripple laid the blueprint with RLUSD, and now everybody else can just follow in their footsteps and copy Ripple when it comes to tokenizing all these other currencies. Now, when these institutions show up, are they going to be able to have smart contracts and other features and programmability on the XRP ledger? Absolutely. We got some serious stuff in the works right now. This is Mayuka Vadari. She's a Ripple engineer at Ripple. There are a ton of new exciting features coming out soon on the XRP ledger. Let's talk about DevNets and how you can help with the development process, even if you know nothing about C++ or even how to code. There are 3 main categories. I'm not even going to read that part out. She's talking about the developments here, but I want to show you this one right here. Batch transactions. Now, what they've done here is they've created BatchNet, which is a DevNet run by Dennis here. Okay. We have account permission delegation DevNet. This is for multi-purpose tokens, credentials, permission domains, dynamic NFTs, features that have been released for voting but not activated on mainnet yet. And this is what we want to see. We don't want to have issues like the SWI network when we bring programmability to our ledger and then there's an exploit, there's a hack. We don't want that. And that's why they do these DevNets before they roll out to mainnet. But I mean, multi-purpose tokens, credentials, permission domains, dynamic NFTs, all of this is additional programmability coming to the XRP ledger. Smart escrows, WASM DevNet. Now, this is a feature that's on the ledger now. Not many people use it, and it's not available for tokens outside of XRP. So basically, you can escrow XRP right now, but you can't escrow your meme coins, right? And there are some developers that have done so, but it's not a feature that's really used at all. They're working on now updating that to smart escrows. And it was interesting. I was listening to the interview that Jake Claver did with Hugo Filion, the CEO of Flare today. I was listening to that. And it was interesting to note how Hugo said they are using the escrow feature on the XRP ledger to basically lock up your XRP on the XRP ledger side and bridge it over to the Flare network to participate in their DeFi ecosystem. And that was a great interview conducted by Jake of Hugo. I mean, I've talked about my frustrations with Flare. That's no secret. Still very frustrated with them that we don't have F assets live now. But what they're building is very legit. It's very serious. And it is DeFi brought to the XRP. It's basically DeFi brought to XRP in the most decentralized way, other than participating directly on the XRP ledger. Right? You know, just putting your assets to work in the AMM, etc. Right? But if you are going to go participate in DeFi anywhere, in my opinion, what Flare is building out does appear to be the most decentralized DeFi opportunity for XRP holders. So, more on that, but the smart escrow feature is on the way. Now, is that all of them? Yes, and then we also have the EVM sidechain for the XRP ledger as well. So, we have the institutional issuers showing up on the XRP ledger. We have more programmability showing up on the XRP ledger. You're not satisfied, though, because you want to know when number goes up. Well, let's take a sip of our adult beverage. We'll continue with tonight's live show, and I'll tell you when the number is going to go up. And by the way, it's very soon. I mean, it's really happening right now, but lock in because it's going to get a lot better. Cheers, everybody. From Michael, XBT on X. Bitcoin has reached the historical 8-year line. When Bitcoin breaks this line, phase 3 of the bull market will commence. We are right here, folks, at when Bitcoin is going to be topping out. Bitcoin's going to reach up here to this trend line that goes back 8 years. And this is when the bull run for your altcoins will commence. We are right there. Dom, Trader View. Everybody's asking, why are altcoins not moving? Well, anybody who's been around and understands the history of how this rotation of capital works understands exactly what's taking place. History can teach you a thing or two about this dynamic. 3 weeks ago, I shared an analysis that proved it was Bitcoin's time and that if we wanted a market-wide expansion, it was the exact pattern we hoped for. I know some of us aren't rooting for Bitcoin, but in this, case, we really should be. This is what we want to see. Let Bitcoin go have its time. Let the Bitcoin show go on. Let the Bitcoin bros have a good time and have a party. They're about to take it to Vegas next week too. We got the Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas next week. And then we have the XRP conference in Vegas next week. Now, last year, I should mind everybody here, after the Bitcoin conference last year, the Bitcoin dropped by 30%. It pumped all the way up to 70,000 and then it dumped by 30%. So if you're wondering why I'm looking to enter a Bitcoin short here soon, that's just one reason. And we're going to let Bitcoin do its thing. We're going to let Bitcoin do its thing right now, and our altcoins come next. With Bitcoin above all-time high, we look back to the last all-time high break and see that there was a 9-day delay after Bitcoin broke all-time high before altcoins really started moving. So you might have to wait 9 days. In that 9-day window, Bitcoin rose over 20%, while most alts were still far away from their, local highs. Exact setup we are seeing right now. Bitcoin sucks all the liquidity when it enters price discovery, and then it eventually trickles down. The dynamic right now is what we always see. What we always see is shortly after altcoins wake up. Let's take a look at this chart. Bitcoin breaks its previous high. There's a 9-day delay. Bitcoin sucks up all the liquidity. One last Bitcoin pump. And then 9 days later, Bitcoin already 23% above the previous high. That's when the altcoins start taking off. Now, for the XRP crew, the quoted post applies even more to XRP than most coins. XRP never sees large moves while Bitcoin is making new highs. So sit back and enjoy the show. If you need to stack some more XRP, you might want to, just because we know what comes next. We know it likes the spotlight. XRP waits. Bitcoin chills. And then XRP goes. Find me a time that Bitcoin broke into price discovery and XRP didn't see a large push shortly after. Happens 100% of the time. Now, Bitcoin has entered price discovery. Bitcoin did go up to 112,000 today. Let's take a look at our charts. Bitcoin closing off the day up here at about 111,700. Yesterday, we closed off the day at 109,000, right? So Bitcoin making that move. And I should note that since the election, Bitcoin is still only up 61%. So yes, Bitcoin's having a time. But unless you got early into Bitcoin from a percentage wise, I mean, if you're new into Bitcoin, if you got in after the election, you're not more than up by 61%. So I know, because I see people commenting, a lot of new people, and they say, oh, Bitcoin's up thousands of dollars and XRP only moved 1 cent. XRP sucks. It's a market dynamic of tokenomics that needs to be understood. And we need to be focused on percentage gain, right? unless you invested very early on in Bitcoin, percentage-wise, you're not really doing too much other than 61% since after the election, right? And even less if you didn't time that out perfectly. Now you flip over to XRP. What did XRP do after the election? 500%. I know it's not on my chart, so let me measure it here for you. 585. Basically 589. I'm gonna fib it. I'm gonna move it a little bit there. 588. I can't get it at 589. 589, right? Basically 600% versus Bitcoin. Even at new all-time highs. Congratulations. But unless you got in early, what have you done? You're up 40%, 50%, maybe 60% if you bought in after the election. President Trump, he's the crypto president. Is he the Bitcoin president? Oh, I don't know. There's a big difference on this chart. 590%. And you say, oh, but Zach, that's the top. Okay, that's fine. Where are we at right now? 397%. 400%. Not even close. Now, we got a lot going on this XRP chart. Let me zoom in here for you guys. Now, we already went into my purple box. My purple box is drawn all the way out here till May 27th. Why? Well, there's an alignment. It's called the moon phases. And I know you think I'm crazy. We are crazy in the XRP community, by the way. We do look at the stars. We do look at the sky. Here you go. May 27th is going to be our new moon. And I'm tracking tops around new moons right here. Your blue circles, that's a new moon. Top, bring it back down. What happened back here? We hit that new moon. And then 2 days later, President Trump puts out that tweet and we blast off, but then we pull back down. Right? Didn't last. Back here, new moon, top, and then we get wrecked all the way down here to $1.70. You see that pattern? That one marked a bottom. And this one right here also marked a top. So we slide it back over, slide my chart back over to where we're at right now. This last vertical line that I have right here, that's the next new moon, May 27th. I know it's crazy. I know it's woo-woo. Some of you guys don't believe in space. That's okay. Some of you guys don't believe in magic. That's okay. It's just one silly indicator that we look at. But we already went up to 265. And I believe that we're going to make one more move up into my purple box. And I got my purple box down here at 250 all the way up to 286, which is where my 702 fib is at. And this fib is drawn from our high right here of 340 all the way down to our new low that we set at $1.60. So I drew my fib extension off of that, and that's going to give us a 618 here at 271 and a 702 fib at 286. And so that's where I'm looking for XRP to go. I've been saying all this month that I think we're going to fall just short of $3, and we already got very close. I mean, 265, that's, you know, we made a move, but I think we got one more in us. One more. And that might even drag on out here. Might even drag on out if the Bitcoin conference next week comes in and then XRP conference follows. If we get that action that we got last year, Bitcoin fell by 30%. It's right back here. Let me clean up the chart for you guys. This right here is last year's Bitcoin conference. It was the 25th through the 27th. I remember it like it was yesterday because I said it was going to be buy the rumor, sell the news, and that's exactly what happened. Literally, as soon as Trump took the stage on this day, that's when the market topped out, came back down. But then 2 days later, on the 29th, it made one last move up to 70,000, and then it dropped by 30%. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to drop by 30% again. I'm just looking for a buy the rumor, sell the news, buy the hype, sell the party, which is basically what happens next week in Vegas. And so that would pull back the rest of the market too. But as long as nothing dramatic happens for Bitcoin, then really that will be the start of the rotation into XRP. Now, I want to move into our comments and questions and make sure that everybody's questions get answered here tonight. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And let's go on into our Q&A portion of the show. How's everybody doing tonight? XRP 777 Riddler. I don't know what that video. I don't know what you said. Please make a video private. I don't know what that means. Dennis, thank you. Appreciate you. XRP price will stair step in chunks. Yeah. Dennis, thank you for another super chat. That hidden road news connects to BlackRock, Ripple, Ondo. In my opinion, maybe that's what Jake was insinuating. Is that what you were saying? Yeah. BlackRock, from what I understand now, they have access to hidden road. Yeah. In fact, if you recall, I pointed out how Brad Garlinghouse mentioned that prime broker firm Hidden Road, the types of clients that they serve, he mentioned BlackRock as an example. Yeah. And I asked the CEO of Tucrium, Sal, what he thought about a BlackRock spot ETF for XRP. I said, they have to do it, right? He said, yeah, I don't see why not. There's no way they won't. There's no way. Zabecki, and yeah, let's go talk about Zabecki too. That one went on an absolute tear. Check it out. Cooled off a little bit here today. Slide on over. Let me fix my chart. How about that one? I'm up 200% on my trade right now, which is why I titled my update earlier today, 200% pump captured. Look at that. All the way up here to 0.003. Big momentum. Big momentum. I had a lot of people thanking me. A lot of people thanking me for bringing awareness to Zabecki. And I try to be clear with you guys. When I find something that's just a meme coin, it's a momentum trade. Hey guys, this is a crap coin, but it has momentum. I'm degenning into it. Versus, hey, this is a Beck protocol. They got a nice little niche carved out. It's a serious utility. It addresses a very big problem. And they got traction while being based out of the United States of America. Very bullish. And so we took a look. I shared it with you guys. I did my deep dive. And the feedback that we're getting is tremendous. Already having people taking profits on Zabek to go back into XRP. A lot of people just thanking me for bringing awareness to Zabek. Yeah. Now, there's still a lot that I need to see out of this team and this network before I become a long-term holder. I'll be very clear and upfront with you guys always. Right? This is not a long-term hold for me at this point. But it's a project that I'm watching very closely to see maybe I should hold on to a little bit of this. I've been very impressed. DAG. More utility based in America. How about some more green candles? I know you guys like the green candles. Here you go. Back above 5 cents for DAG. Love to see it. Hidden Road cleared business for BlackRock before Ripple. Yeah, Dennis, yeah. Hidden Road, they already were so massive, moving over 3 trillion on a yearly basis, already connected with some serious players, and they said basically we just need a little bit more infrastructure in place to be able to scale this up, and that's exactly what Ripple's going to provide. Yeah. Yeah, Uphold is doing an airdrop to certain holders of Zebek on Uphold. I don't know the details. And to be frank with you guys, I don't like mentioning airdrops or giveaways because so many scammers try to get at you guys when we start to talk about that. So I'm going to wait till I get the official details from Uphold, and then I will share that with you guys when I know it's directly from Uphold. But I get worried, I get scared talking about airdrops and giveaways because it's a common way that the scammers try to get at you guys. And remember what I say. I mean, there's a scammer in my chat right here on TikTok right now. Oh, I tried to block them. I actually accidentally invited them. These scammers are relentless. Remember what I've been saying. Nobody's coming to help you here in this crypto game. Just run with that assumption. The person that has reached out to you, they want to take your crypto. Just run with that assumption and you'll be a lot safer in this space. Yeah, midnight. There's also going to be a Cardano airdrop. Yeah. Buxom Blonde, thank you for the 2 spot. I would love to see a gold XRP coin of solid gold. Yeah, that's the thing. I've been waiting for gold and silver to be tokenized on the XRP ledger. Reaper Financial, which is now Revival Capital, they've started that process, so I'll give a shout out to them. I'd like to see more, but we've already got the ball rolling, and I think that there's going to be some really big tokenized gold and silver offerings on the XRP ledger because our community is already into precious metals, right? A lot of folks that are invested in crypto don't own precious metals, but the XRP community in particular, our demographic, we have precious metals. We love precious metals. It's cheaper on Caleb and Brown. Yeah, I know, yeah, ZBCN is not available on Uphold in Canada. Yeah, I know. It's really sad that Caleb and Brown pulled out of Canada too. I know you guys have limited options up there. I bought Zebek on Caleb and Brown, but I just, by the way, I already mentioned it, but I doubled up my DAG position yesterday on Uphold. And I wanted to say thank you guys because the way that I was able to add to my DAG position is I went and checked Uphold and I had a bunch of Bitcoin from you guys using my affiliate link for Uphold. That's the only time I end up with Bitcoin is primarily on Uphold, and I think Coinbase does their referrals in Bitcoin too. So every once in a while I have to go into Coinbase or Uphold and I've racked up a bag of Bitcoin and I just dump it into a utility project every time. Don't care to own Bitcoin at all. And so that's what I did on Uphold yesterday. And so I just want to say thank you guys for using our links. That's how we get supported here. And we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much. But I checked Uphold. I had a big bag of Bitcoin. And I said, oh crap, we got to get rid of this now. And so I rolled it all into DAG. And I got myself a nice bag of DAG. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Any other good projects to look at? If you want to go degen, I'm still bullish as heck on Joey. Joey Wallet's on the way. Probably going to get launched either at the end of this month or the first part of next month. And it's going to be a new wallet for the XRP ledger. Some degens made a token called Joey, and it's based off that wallet. The team behind it burned the 30% supply that they held. That was the only thing that was worried about me getting rug pulled on that coin. But the team burned that supply. And so it just has a clean narrative. There's no drama involved. It's just clean. And I think that the narrative is going to be hot when that wallet launches. And so that's a project that's not a serious utility. It's a degen play. But I would be lying to you if I said that I didn't have too much XRP invested in it, along with some of the other meme coins that I hold. But I think that Joey's going to run. Other projects that I'm bullish on, you guys already know most of them. You guys already know everything that I'm invested in pretty much. Joey's only available on the XRP ledger. It's not available on centralized exchanges. It's not available on any tier 1 exchanges. Yeah. What do I think about Plume? What is Plume? Is that a crypto? I've never heard of it. Zebek is my most recent play, along with DAG. I'm also still very bullish on HBAR too. Yeah, Jay Claver had the Flare founder on the podcast thoughts. He didn't really, he wasn't able to pin him down on how much of a yield that F assets are going to provide for XRP holders. But Hugo did say that they have a bunch, they have like 20% of the supply of Flare they held back so that they can incentivize this. So it sounds like they're going to, it sounds like it's going to be more than 4 or 5% just based off that. Like, it sounds to me like the Flare team wants to juice their F assets in the staking. And so they're going to put some more capital behind that. That works for a while. It's not a long-term sustainable plan, though. I don't, so much of crypto staking is based off of incentive plans that can't be sustainable. So eventually those end up running out. And then can the ecosystem stand on its own feet at that point is the question. For Flare, I'm bullish. I've been frustrated, but I'm bullish and I still hold some, right? It's just like I tell my daughter, it's okay to be frustrated. It's not okay to be mean. Would I ever be mean to Flare or Hugo? No. We'll be respectful, but let's get F assets live now. Let's get it done. How does one trade on the XRP ledger? X Magnetic, First Ledger. I have a link for First Ledger linked up down below. This probably the easiest platform is First Ledger. X Magnetic and XP Market is what I use. There's others too. What is Pulse Chain? Who is Richard Hart? I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to waste breath on Richard Hart and Pulse Chain tonight. Sorry. It's not worth looking at, in my opinion. What do I think about Axelar? They're building a lot of bridges. I haven't done enough. I haven't done enough to invest, but I've been impressed with what they're doing. Yeah. How about Chainlink? Price target for DAG this bull run. I think that I talked about DAG going up to 40 or 50 cents. 40 or 50 cents on DAG. I'd have to go back. In my deep dive, I gave price targets on DAG. Yes, it does look like Ripple and Zebek might have a product in the works. That's the rumor. Yeah. Is that Ripple might be partnered up with Zebek. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't get into Zebek riddles. I've seen some people that try to say that the Perseverance ship is actually the Zebek ship. I guess Zebek is the name of some ship or something. I don't get into any of that. I don't get into that. I've seen some people try to tell me that the payroll market is like 11 trillion. And so Zebek's going to go to $50 because payroll is an $11 trillion market. That's not how these work in practicality. But, you know, Zebek is real. Like, it's a real utility, real project. How far are they going to go? are they partnered up with Ripple? One of their guys said that they have a product that they're working on. We'll see what it is. But yeah. What about BitMEX? BitMEX just went live with XRP, or sorry, RLUSD, and they allow you to use RLUSD for margin, and they're going to use XRP for margin here soon as well too. I've never used BitMEX. It's one of the first derivatives platforms in the world for cryptocurrency. I don't use it, but yeah. Still waiting to get an update on the Ripple Circle deal as well too. There's a lot of speculation there. I'm kind of waiting to get any official confirmation. Yeah, Circle does work with Zebek, yeah. And so if Ripple buys Circle, yeah. Yeah. XRP now running back to a daily high of 248. Are we pumping right now, chat? Hello, chat? Hello, chat, are you there with us? Bitcoin coming down, XRP going up. Uh-oh. Hello. 246 and a half. How you doing? Little 248. How are we doing tonight? How about a move, huh? Yeah, people have asked me about XRP healthcare. I just get a bad vibe. I get a bad vibe from XRP healthcare and how it was marketed. I understand wanting to get attention to a project, but they had some people hype up XRP healthcare that I don't take serious in the space. And it's just, I've gotten a bad feeling about how it was marketed. And maybe they are legit. Maybe they'll do something. I know that they want to go public on the Toronto Stock Exchange, I believe. But I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You know, I could tell if any project on the XRP ledger wants to know which accounts not to have show your project, I can tell you. Because I can tell you for people like me and many others in our community, I can see you guys in the comments. If your project gets shilled by a certain group, there's a certain list. Thank you. Have a good one. I'm going to keep my money. Best platform for leverage trading in the United States. You know, what's awesome is the CFTC just said today that we're going to be having futures, perpetual futures, live in the United States. That it's okay. We're going to greenlight it. The CFTC. Lightchain AI presale. Any thoughts? Legit, or did I get scammed? 9 out of 10 projects that put AI in their name, I would just assume are a scam. So the odds that you invested in a scam, you know, is it a rug pull? Is it legit? There's different variations of very different interpretations of what that means. Anything that has AI in it, look over 2 and 3 times. That's what I would say, to keep it polite. Yeah. Yeah, the old pre-sales. Mm-hmm. We know how those go. Whoa, Zebek I didn't realize how big of a pullback Zebek did have there. It went all the way down here to 0.0023, but big bounce back. Wow. And I wish that I could track the order books a little bit better on Zebek, but because Zebek, it's on Solana and it's on Ethereum. And so when you look on CoinMarketCap, it's pulling data from, there's a list of a few exchanges that it's on, but it doesn't pull anything from Uphold. It doesn't pull anything from Caleb and Brown, because those are both brokers, right? So it only pulls data from exchanges. So it's hard to track the inflows and outflows on Zebek. It's hard to track the inflows and outflows on a coin like DAG that's also not listed on like tier 1 exchanges like Coinbase and others. That's the problem. Do I still like Proton? It's not that I dislike it. It's just, it's not an investment that I'm going to make, right? I hope that they do all right. I laugh. I do laugh at them. I'd be disingenuous if I said I didn't get a kick out of the Proton boys and girls thinking that the riddles apply to them. The Proton riddlers do give me a good laugh. I mean, I love wearing a good tinfoil hat, but they're wearing a tinfoil hat and something else. I don't know what else they're doing, but they're doing something. They don't like me because I just, and that's why I say, respectfully, it's not for me. To each their own. I hope it works out, right? What does my purple box mean on the XRP chart? It's just a box that I drew for my target area, right? So I wanted to show people where I thought XRP was going. And I did this. We did this back here when we had a pullback too, right? So back here, I drew this purple box and I said, we're going down into the Fed meeting. And that's this vertical line here on May 7th. Did we go down into the Fed meeting? Absolutely. Back to 207. And that's where I entered my XRP long at 213. Here's my XRP futures contract. This yellow line right here, horizontal line, is my entry on that long. $248 on the XRP futures. This is on Coinbase XRP futures. How did I get started or hear of crypto? I feel like I heard of crypto earlier on, but I thought, this is back like before 2018 when I started investing. I think that I heard about crypto first in 2017. It is when it really like came onto my radar in a serious way, where I was like, okay, this is something to actually look at. Was during the 2017 bull run when Bitcoin topped out. And then I started investing in Bitcoin. I took the orange pill like Michael Saylor and all the Bitcoin bros would take. And then after I sobered up, I realized, okay, I listened to some good friends of mine, DIA, Brad Kimes and others back in the day, some of the OG XRP YouTubers, and they saved me and helped me see the light. And so I sold off all of my Bitcoin then and got into XRP. Before that, though, I did hear about crypto, but it was before that, and I didn't take it serious. I just thought, oh, this is, digital money. Criminals are using this. Don't take it serious. And then during the 2017 bull run, I said, okay, wait, hold up. And then I started investing in 2018. But mind you, back in 2011, 2012, 2013, the first few years of Bitcoin, I was in high school. So the last thing that I was focused on was making more money than I needed to go have a good time on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? I was so far from investing back then. I was focused on having the best quick scoping skills on Call of Duty. I was focused on having flawless runs on Battlefield 3. 25-0. I was focused on that. And I'm kicking myself for that because obviously, we were all alive back then, but for whatever reason, we weren't looking at it. It wasn't something on our radar. But then in 2017, I got serious about looking at it, started investing in 2018. And by 2019, I had gone all in on XRP. And then here we are. Yes. Do I think that ZBCN will get listed on Coinbase? They should. They really should, yeah. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A lot of these projects need to make the sacrifice to get on the tier 1 exchanges. I know that a lot of them are against it because you do get taken advantage of, basically. These exchanges, it costs a lot of money to get listed with them. That's why they list all that crap, is because there's degens who want to get their crap coin listed on Coinbase, and they pay the money. And Coinbase says, okay, your check cleared. We'll list your crap coin. And look at the chart on every single one of those new Coinbase listings. But those are on projects with no utility. If you look at other, XRP being relisted on Coinbase was a big deal. We've been watching the inflows and outflows right on that order book. The Coinbase flows have been very interesting in and of themselves because the Coinbase order book is a reflection of US investors, and they were piling into XRP after the election. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. I used to talk to Madoff when I was on the trading desk. He sounded honest. Got it? Be careful. Exactly. And he's saying that in reference to MicroStrategy. Exactly. There's a lot of slick talking fellows in suits that are willing to sell you something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to wear myself a suit. I do like to put on my suit. When you come from a blue collar background and used to getting dirty, it's nice to get, nice to get in the suit once in a while. So I do enjoy it. But there's a lot of slick suit wearing counterparties that have arrived with an opportunity for you. So yeah, be careful. Great point, Dennis. Great point. And this needs to be the focus of our community, is conducting due diligence on these platforms. Any other comments, questions, guys? I'm going to hang out with you guys for a bit longer here. What is the best cold wallet? Decent versus Caleb and Brown? Caleb and Brown, they don't, so that's a brokerage firm that you'd be using, but you would be in institutional grade custody with Fireblocks, right? Decent is a true cold storage solution where you would self custody. So it's two different things. It's comparing apples to oranges. Decent versus Caleb and Brown. I use both. I use cold storage. I use Caleb and Brown. I use cold storage. I use Uphold, Coinbase, others. I trade on the XRP Ledger DEX using X Magnetic, XP Market, etc. First Ledger as well too. So I do both. Long-term holdings, cold storage. And I just added the Decent wallet is linked up down below. You can hold Zebek. You can hold XDC. I think that you can hold DEG as well too. So the Decent wallet, fantastic option. I have it linked up down below in the description of this video. Dude, when are you getting fitted hats? I had to let my guy, we had to catch up to all of the orders that we have. We finally have. And so now we're going to get the hats listed. The fitted hats will be listed here shortly. Yeah. I was just letting my guy catch up a little bit. We use a third-party vendor for fulfilling the merch, and I kind of blew it up because we gave away 1,000 XRP, and we had a lot of people come in. And so just letting our team get caught up on that was the priority. Now we're caught up, and now we're in the process of bringing the fitted hats live. And we got the Trump XRP patch in. So So there you got it. That is the patch right there that we just got in. And that's on the FlexFit. So we just got the Trump XRP patch in. We got the XRP family patches in. And we're going to have these available in the Richardson 112 and the FlexFits. Large XL. Price prediction for Ondo. I haven't done enough researching into Ondo to give you one. Yeah, Daryl, that was a good one, right? That live show when I had a clip of it was like a plane on fire playing in the background for like the entire live show. And I didn't realize that it was playing. I just kept on going through the news. And in the background, I had another tab where that video was just playing the whole time. And the problem is I get going on these, I get so excited and I get going on these rants and then I don't realize that something's messed up. The multiplier effect, yeah. So basically, it's just a function of how quickly and aggressively the liquidity is coming in to an asset. Makes the market cap multiplier more dramatic. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. For people that think that for XRP to reach $1 trillion market cap, $1 trillion needs to come into XRP, that's not the case. For example, when Trump tweeted out that XRP was going to be in the strategic reserve, we had like 70 or 90 million of inflows into XRP, yet XRP's market cap grew by 44 billion. So we literally had less than 100 million inflows and the market cap grew by 44 billion because there was so much aggressive buying taking place all at once. And so it just drove that price up. At the same time, it's driving that market cap up. And market cap is simply just a function of the last traded price by the supply of a circulating asset. Gives you the market cap. It's a snapshot in time. I refer to it as a figment of your imagination. No, I did not know what Bearable Bull looked like. I had never, I've been on, I was not on his YouTube show. I did a call with him for his private group or something like that. That was a couple years ago. That's the only collab that I've ever done with Bearable Bull. I've never seen his face until today. I didn't think that it was real. I saw somebody post it and I was like, did somebody just dox Bearable Bull? And then I saw that he gave an update where he did a face reveal. I'm glad that he's doing good. Shannon, are you going to Vegas? I didn't see you. I got to double check to make sure that you're on our list. We're going to be having a Discord meetup on Thursday. And then Friday, I'm going to be going to the conference along with an after party there. And then Saturday, we will be back at the conference, couple parties, and then a meetup that's being put on. My good friend J68 is putting on that meetup. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. I thought you were, Shannon. Okay, good. Good. I'm bringing Brad Growinghouse tattoo shirts for our Discord community. So that's on the way. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing with Bearable is I was surprised to see him finally do a face reveal, but I get why he did. It's the same reason why I've revealed my face for a long time ago. If you want to have the biggest impact, you have to be able to connect with people like that. You have to reveal your face. You can't just stay anonymous and be able to, at a certain point, you're up against the limit of how many people will trust you without seeing your face. I think it's always been one of my advantages in this space is showing my face, but it's a sacrifice that, sometimes I regret. I think, wow, I should have done the anonymous PFP. I should have stayed behind, lurking in the shadows. But it's a sacrifice that we're willing to make to change the lives of many people. Yeah. Yeah. Any dinner or meal you're looking forward to? The most fulfilling part of XRP Las Vegas for me is just meeting you guys and hearing, your guys' testimony about how, I helped you in one regard or another. You appreciate my content, even if you just say, hey, thanks. But just that energy from you guys and that feedback from you guys, that's what keeps me so inspired to keep doing what I do. So that's what I look forward to the most. It's not any meeting in particular. I'm looking forward to meeting Brad. I'm looking forward to meeting David. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of folks. A lot of our partners, Uphold, Caleb and Brown, they'll all be there. I was looking forward to doing the fireside chat with the CEO of iTrust Capital, Kevin Maloney. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it. And so we filled that spot with the Tucrium CEO, Sal Gaberte. And so I'll be interviewing him instead. But just basically interviewing all of our partners in this space. But most importantly, just being able to hang out with you guys. That's the most rewarding part. Yeah, exactly. And I knew the reason why I started making content on TikTok is because there was so much misinformation about XRP on TikTok in particular. And I said, this is ridiculous. So I said, I'm going to start making TikToks. I'm just going to do so from, I'm not going to try to pretend to be anybody that I'm not. And so when I got started on TikTok, I was a different man. I was still a young man becoming a real man, right? And especially when it comes to my understanding of the financial markets too. I've learned so much in the past 5 years that I've been making content. And still to this day, I think, I was just talking with my wife about this last night. I said, we're on the trajectory right now where I'm not just going to be a trusted, one of the most trusted sources in the XRP community. I'm going to be one of the most trusted sources in the broader crypto markets. And then, 5 years down the road here, maybe even sooner, we basically already are one of the most trusted resources in all of financial markets, not just crypto, not just XRP, but all of the financial markets. And so that's the goal for me. And that's why people ask me, what are you going to do after XRP goes to 589? Are you going to still make content? And the answer is absolutely 100%. I have no plans on stopping, no plans on retiring. Yeah, I don't need to kick my feet up anywhere. I got my grounding session in today out in the backyard with the family, soaking up the sun. Yep. Soaking up the sun, feet touching grass. Put away the charts for a minute. Go touch grass. I was also working on my swing too. So I'm excited. The kids are going to be getting into sports and stuff here soon. And I love sports back in the day. I just didn't care for it over the past decade or so of my life. I haven't really paid attention to sports, but now I'm excited to get back into it because I was thinking about hitting my children, ground balls, hitting them fly balls. So I was working on my swing a little bit today, making sure get that form right. Got to be able to hit some good ground balls, good pop-ups. And then I had a squirt gun fight with my children too. And, you know, the quick scoping skills from Call of Duty carry over to real life squirt gun battle with my children. Had to show my daughter that I'm still a sniper. Quick feet. 360, no scope. Got to show them what it's about. Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing is that we still have so much work to do. You know, I think about the work really only picks up when XRP does go to those fun prices, right? Because we got to figure out, you know, what's the reallocation plan? What's the next investment opportunity? And for many of us, it'll be a matter of just protecting what we've built up. Because, hey, you know, I'm fine just making 5% on this bag because this is a real bag, right? I think that one of the common problems that I see is that people confuse what they're investing in crypto for, right? Are you investing to, you know, preserve some capital, or are you trying to make income? And it's two completely different approaches. And it's okay to do both, but you should probably segregate, you know, those accounts, which is what I do. Right? I have a very small trading bucket and then a big bag of XRP. Go make a little meme coin play, double up my position on DEG. Little meme coin play, make a move on Zebeki. Right? But even with what I've done, after it's gone to my investment bucket, it stays in my investment bucket. I'm not trying to pull any profits from crypto to go pay for a vacation. Personally, I'm not. It's already in my investment bucket. I know how I make money, and then we know how we're growing our wealth too. Down the road, I'll worry about preserving it. I'm still building. I'm 30 years old, in a much different spot than many of you guys, which is why I can go be a degen from time to time. That's part of my hustle. Is my fish doing? It's a pink fish. The fish names is Pinky. Now Pinky's actually a boy, but you know, he's so cute, beautiful pink. So we had to name him Pinky. And yeah. Will this ever become a paid for access channel, especially after a huge pump? No. That's how we bring the value and expand our community. Is I try to put out as much as I can for free. I'll be honest with you guys. I would put out all of my trades and stuff for free too. It's too much of a liability. There's too many immature people that want to copy me, even though I would say, don't copy me. I'd say, this is not financial advice. This is not a signal. I'm making a degen move. Don't worry about it. People still go do it. It's too much of a liability to share some of the things that I have to put behind the wall. And that includes trades. That includes some of my more personal business moves and investments that I'm making, real life moves that I'm making. And then obviously in my private group, I feel like I can talk freely about other issues when it pertains to current events, politics, other things that, you know, I can't speak on as freely here. Yeah. Hey, bud, love your content. I'm 46 now and hoping XRP will be my retirement. I think XRP is going to be the retirement for many of you guys as long as you can hold. I think that you got big enough bags. It's just a matter of being able to hold throughout the next 5-10 years, and to see XRP reach its full potential. Yep. 10 to 15% passive income APY possible. Randy, I don't know what you're asking about or what you're referring to. There's going to be a lot of DeFi. There's going to be a lot of DeFi that'll be offering that. Yeah. Pat, if you have not received a shirt, please email merch@zachrictor.com. I put it in the description of the video. For anybody that has any inquiries into merch, just email us there and our team will get back to you right away. I just talked to my guy today and he said that we've shipped everything that we've got in other than one order. One order. So we're still waiting for somebody ordered like a red sweatshirt. I forget what it was for, red crew neck or something. We didn't have it. And so we're waiting on, we got one order. So if you've placed an order with us, your order's on the way. You should have a tracking number in your email. But follow up with us and we'll get back to you right away. Okay? Why don't you join the Bitcoin Clubhouse and debate if you're so confident in speculation? Sure. I mean, I've found that joining conversations with Bitcoiners has been a waste of time lately. I try to listen into some of their spaces. They're very low value conversations, but I'm always open to debating and discussing. I love debating. I love a back and forth. I live for that. But I've just found that it's hard to break through with some of these Bitcoin bros. Zach, beat abs in the arm wrestling. Tremendous work you do. Charles, I appreciate that. I get my workout in yesterday. I'm back in after recovering from we got a little sickness last week. I'm back in the game. Got my workout in yesterday. Gosh, I'm getting old. But I got my pump in. Abs better look out. Coming in hot. Sure Pepe, thank you for the 20 spot. Thank you. Sure Pepe, First Ledger, Great Comics, XRP. Actually, I saw your project. I did see your project. I like the comics that I saw. That's good. That's good. Now, for everybody listening, that's not an official endorsement. Sure Pepe is not a sponsor of the show. We appreciate the super chat, Sure Pepe. I love a good meme. I love a good crap coin. I like people that can handle, some back and forth. That can handle me calling their coin a crap coin. Respectfully, right? Respectfully. Dennis, thank you. How's it? By the way, Dennis, that just reminded me about BitBoy. Where is he? This guy was going on it felt like the climax of his Netflix documentary was playing out before us. Like in a bad way. And I can't say I was praying for the dude, but I was thinking, gosh, I really hope that this dude gets it together for the sake of his children. That's what I was worried about. I was like, man, this guy's his reputation's cooked in the crypto space. But at least if he could save this for his children, that'd be great. Like, it's actually sad to think about. But what's up with BitBoy? Like, I saw it was like the climax of his documentary, Netflix documentary. And I'm talking about the Netflix documentary that isn't in the works yet, but eventually somebody will do a documentary on BitBoy. Oh, he's in jail? Well, that makes sense. I figured, yeah, that makes sense. They brought him in. Yeah. That kills me. I don't know how people can do that to their children. It's one thing if you're a degen with no children and you make an ass of yourself, excuse my French, but it's one thing if you're like that in that kind of situation. But for crying out loud, man, you got a family. Unacceptable. There's a time to be a degen, and it's not embarrassing your family like that. Yeah. Sure, Pepe, thank you for the 5 spot. Thank you, Zach. Many more to come. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. I won't do sponsorship on this show, but we will accept your super chats. Sure, Pepe. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I will have to go take a look at Sure Pepe. Comics to the XRP ledger. I told you. We got institutional issuers on the XRP ledger, as we titled tonight's episode. We got comics on the XRP ledger. More utility. All right, folks. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight. I always have a good time hanging out with you guys. We will be back tomorrow, okay, watching how these markets are going to finish off this week. Like I said, watch closely. We're rolling into the Bitcoin conference, and I'm expecting a buy the rumor, sell the news. I'm going to be recording my updated trade setup for my Discord group tomorrow, and I'll share that with the Discord members, and I'll make that available for you guys. If you do want to get access to that, it'll be available on my Patreon, but that'll be for members only. I'm going to go through the full breakdown of the current setup, how I see it playing out, and the trades that I'm making. Not just my Bitcoin short, but some of the other ones too. I'm in a few active trades right now. And so I'm going to be breaking that down for our group tomorrow. It's all available at zachrector.com if you guys want to get access, along with our full shop for the XRP family merch. We have all of our other community resources available for you guys linked up down below and at the website. Once again, couldn't do it without your support. So thank you and God bless. On the way out, if you haven't already, let's make sure we like this video. We can share out our content far and wide to your friends, family, and other loved ones that you want to get on the right side of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic night. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.